Okay, much love and many blessings. We're moving on to the dark fiery sign of Sagittarius. We'll be focusing on the Aquarius message this season, and Kali has definitely channeled his spirit wisdom with the Moksha of Kali, Nine of Wands, and the Sun. And as I think about the Sagittarius collectively during this season, the Sun, it's been a lot of ways there. You've been suffering some pretty heavy blows over the past couple of months, especially transitioning over to this year. You've been trying to make sense of confusion and spiritual noise, looking to make sense of where you are essentially in your life spiritually, or just where you are within your place in the world, and been looking for signs and omens through other people, and just through just anywhere where you could make sense of holding on to what you've built up. Do you have the things that you want? Are you represented the way that you want to be seen? And you essentially, with how the past has been for you and all that's been lost, you don't really want to look back. You want to essentially be able to move on and move forward from where you are. So with that, especially with this Aquarius season coming into effect and things getting lighter, this new vision is really just broaden your scope, so it gives you something new to really hope for, and you're willing to drop everything that originally represented you to step into something new. Honestly, this is a very interesting season for you, the age of Aquarius, and just how your cycle has shifted into this phase. You're actually almost ready to really just become a completely new person. This alignment, this is really an alignment shift too, because especially with this Nine of Wands here, some of you Sagittarius have either, if you've been really just not moving with a heart that you can live with, you've been feeling like you wanted to be a better person. You've spent a lot of the year just essentially not walking within what would be considered collective or for the divine good. There's been a lot of toxic traits, toxic divine femininity, or just a lot of control, or just looking out for number one, looking out for yourself. And that's a very lonely road, because it's left you with all of these physical resources in abundance, but no one to share it with but yourself. Wishing that you had these camaraderies, but you realize that the very people that you want to be connected and warm with are some of the very people that you've taken these things from. So the only thing that you had to keep you warm are these cold physical possessions and these cold physical accolades that you've accumulated. So the Moksha of Kali coming up during this time is a representation of her passionate desire for your liberation, and it's unflagging. So this is also letting you know that regardless of how stuck you feel, how unliberated you feel within your situation, the energy, the divine energy in the universe seeks to rapidly, almost to with immediacy, to pull you from your situation. But there has to be a space for this energy to come through. Her passionate desire for your liberation is unflagging, and so your relief shall come swiftly. She is speaking to you from within. She is the voice of reassurance. Can you hear her? Trust her? Soon you will see things in a better light. You are going to be liberated from the struggles you are currently experiencing. Be true to yourself and your life path, and you will attract a way forward as obstacles disappear. Do not turn away, for you are destined to overcome all oppositions, bringing your sacred path to fruition. Moksha is a Sanskrit term meaning freedom, in the sense of a complete self-actualization and spiritual liberation. It refers to the attainment of enlightenment and is considered the final release from involuntary suffering. The distinction between voluntary and involuntary is made because at a high level, certain divine beings will take on the experience of suffering to assist those who are not yet to experience moksha. They help to carry the load and move others forward. Our love for another, our compassion for their pain, may make us wish we could take on their suffering, so they no longer need to struggle. This is a counter to the divine perspective of higher beings. They enter into the realm of suffering to assist all. The divine understands the purpose of suffering, that it can lead us towards wisdom, strength, and ultimately empowerment. There is an art to elevating suffering without depriving the soul of the growth it can bring. There are loving divine beings of great wisdom willing to help those trapped in a suffering at all times. We can call for assistance whenever we find our pain difficult to bear. These divine beings have sufficient wisdom and higher understanding to help us in ways that create benefits for all. There are times when our suffering is so great that it threatens to overwhelm the soul. That perhaps that intense degree of suffering is a result of accumulated, unresolved pain of the generations of ancestors resting upon the spiritual shoulders of one family member, brave enough to admit the truth when others are trapped in delusion and denial. Now, I find this very fitting that this message is coming up, and that's channeling and resonating at a time for the Sagittarius message, because Sagittarius, more so than any other sign, has a tendency to carry the weight of their experiences like a ball and chain. And being a sign that always wants to travel, or for a much better word to me, is expand. You may take the things that you collect, and instead of dropping them off, they deposit in you, and then they integrate into your being, and you carry the past with you. That's why with the Sagittarius, it can be so challenging sometimes, especially if a Sagittarius is an ex, and you've made all this growth and liberation. Sagittarius will be the first one reminding you about who you used to be. Sagittarius have a natural tendency to carry the past with them because their karmic lesson a lot of times is dealing with higher horizons, so their thoughts can really breathe more life into a situation or hold them back. So they always want to release. They get the greatest sensation. Sagittarius, you get the greatest sensation from liberation and not looking back at the past, because your inner child gets to soar. But the Nine of Wands being here and showing up, representing reputations and all the hard work and everything that goes into your heart, into you, is an inversion or a reversal feeling, meaning that you feel like you've lost so much, or that there's so much to lose in the situation that you're in because of what you hold on to. But the fact that these mokshas are here, the mokshas here representing two things for you. That either one, you feel as if you're taking on the higher burdens of others, or you're even taking on unnecessary suffering, and you're suffering more than you need to. There's some of the higher vibrational things taking place represent that you can release. If you're going to suffer and learn the wisdom, but you don't have to suffer in vain anymore. Things are moving and getting better, and that the higher wisdoms and the higher energies are available to release you from your karmic cycles and the emotional waste that you're experiencing during this time. The divine universe moving into a higher cosmic cycle and a higher planetary alignment is also letting you know that divinely on a cosmic level, that the higher forces are working to alleviate your situations, pains and sufferings, and the gravity of the weight that you have to carry spiritually and emotionally for your situations. If you've also been experiencing sitting on truth because of that same weight, carrying the suffering, whether it's molestations and traumas and things that are family weights within the family, then you are carrying on the suffering for other people unaware, because they don't even know that you're carrying these weights out of fear that you'll disrupt the family harmony, or out of fear that you're going to break up these dynamics. Understand that you're keeping and bottling these weights within you, and it's also putting delays and strains on your ability to enjoy the current energy that's available to you. As you take your divine breath, and as you're moving through this vibrational season, Sagittarius, understand that with the mokshas, this is representing, especially of Kali, the light that comes from liberation, and also that it is a sign that there is a way out, and that the suffering that you're going through is not the life. It is simply a transition that you're going through. Ask yourself, when you take your divine breath, as you move through this Aquarius season that represents themes of utopian vision, futuristic vision, and your social groups, in what ways do you not have to suffer like you've been suffering, and what do you realize is not the same in this present moment anymore? What do you still have that you can enjoy the warmth of, that allows you to really feel clear and liberated as you get to bask in the light of these things that have dissipated and been released? I hope this message has resonated with your spirit. Definitely drop a comment and make sure to subscribe. Let me know how you enjoyed this video and what this Aquarius season is doing for you specifically. Much love and many blessings, and Ashe.